my Scaredy Cats, my name is Kate from Scaredy Cat Gaming, and we are back in with a case of Distrust. Now, we left off after finding the 45 caliber gun in this man's trash can, and I had to load it back up, and I had to do some other things, because apparently it didn't save, so I had to redo all that stuff, which is fine, but, you know, didn't really take that long. So... we found out that the tin spoon has a back exit. So we are gonna go ask them about it. He said that the employees knew everything there was to know about it, and they could have slipped out without being detected. So, I'm gonna first ask her about it, because, you know, why not? Because I'm pretty sure I know who did it, but I don't want to accuse anybody yet. Here we go. I have a source that says there's a back exit at the tin spoon. What do you know about this? Alice Smith nodded. Yes, we do have one. It's behind the women's changing rooms. I can imagine any of the men know about it. They would never be able to get back there without causing a riot. But the girls use it whenever we need to slip away from customers who are... she paused, too eager. So there's a back exit to the tin spoon. That only the women know about? That's right, she said. I showed her something in the notes. I'm gonna ask Paul about it, because he owns the place, which means he should know about it. He said that none of the men know about it? No, I don't want to go to Green's house. I wanted to go to Paul's apartment. I accidentally clicked on the wrong one. Tiny Paul's apartment. I'm sure he knows about it. He bought the building. He has to know about it. He owns the place. And if he doesn't know about it, then that's kind of bad. Like, why wouldn't he know about his own place? Stable tells me there's a back exit to your joint. I put to him, might you have escaped that way last night? Back exit? Paul said. I don't know what medicine Stable is using, or what medicine he should be using, but I don't know of any back exit to the tin spoon. However long I pressed him, Paul wouldn't admit there was any way out of the tin spoon beyond the front door. So he doesn't know about his back exit. That's kind of bad that he doesn't even know about his own back exit to his place. I want to go back here. I want to see if I can question her about no, I want to go question, Green's wife. Alright, let's question her about it. See what she says. She's probably going to say something along the lines of like, no, I don't know anything about it. And then I'll be like, but you escaped. There is a back door that only the female performers can use. Is that right, Miss Green? Oh, yes, she said. I think you're right. I stepped out at some point during that night, Miss Green admitted. Sometimes a girl needs fresh air, but I could not have been gone long. I was in the billiards room most of the night, so Miss Green had no alibi at the time of Connor's death. I noted that and continued asking other questions. So she has no alibi. She's up here. I asked her again about her night. I might have stepped out for a bit of air, but I surely wasn't gone long. The bit of air still could have given her enough time to kill her husband. Now that that's that, I'm gonna go back to the tin spoon and I'm gonna ask her if she had seen her, you know, the alibi. Because she has no alibi right now, and that can't be good. So let's see if we can see if she is the killer. I still don't have means at all. I'm sorry, she said. I don't know anything about that. I nodded and asked about something else. Stable doesn't have a... There's nothing about the back exit. I asked her about the tin spoon back exit, but she confirmed that what she told me. Yes, we do have one. It's behind the woman's changing room. I can't imagine any of the men know about it. They would never be able to get back there without causing a riot. I'm going to go talk to Stable again. He doesn't have an alibi. No alibi, and neither does Miss Green, because she lied to me. She told me she was there the whole time, but she stepped out through the back door. The pistol in your bin, I started, but Stable interrupted me. I have no idea how or why that pistol was placed in the receptacle, he said. And that was all he would admit. Where? No, I need to go down. It seems Alice Smith knew about the back exit to the tin spoon, I told Stable. You see, he smiled. I had told you the truth. I asked him about something in the notebook, but he said nothing meaningful in response. Okay, I brought up the pistol game, but Sable just scoffed. He already admitted the gun at the racetrack was probable murder weapon, and it seemed he didn't want to continue that line of questioning. I again pressed Stable about his whereabouts the previous night, but the conversation led to no new information. What am I gonna do? No. Nope. Alright, well, I'm gonna leave you be. And I'm gonna go to the police station. Can I go to, I can't go to the police station. I can go to Southern Coffee. Let's go there. Because I'm a little lost right now. I don't know where to get any more information. So we're gonna go see if we can get any information out of my favorite person. Right here, Frankie. I looked at Frankie. What's eating you, kid? I asked Frankie about something in my notes, and his response got me no closer to solving the case. No, I didn't mean to click that one. I meant to click the alibi one. This one. No, this one. I was thinking about something. No. I'll ask him about Miss Green because he tends to have a little crush on her. I pointed something in my book, but Frankie's response was nothing memorable. I was thinking about something in my notes, and his response got me no closer to solving the case. Let's go to evidence, because I found the gun. I found this gun on Stable's racetrack grounds, I said to Frankie. He raised his brows in amazement. So you think that could be the murder weapon? That could point to Stable as the killer. I nodded, but still needed more information. Got anything else? He ended. Yes, I have more things I need to know about. No, I don't think he'd know anything about that. I don't know what to ask about because I'm just lost. I don't have a means or motive for either Stable or Miss Green. I don't know. I mean, maybe Miss Green could have got mad about people coming after her and her husband. Alice Smith went in the lounge and told me that about Paul's behind and had given me the address because of her proximity to Green's death. She was also a suspect of the murder. Sybil was wondering the grounds of his. I might ask him further questions there. Ray Carter had told me about the transport track. He was the bassist for the Tin Spoon Jazz Band and thus a suspect for himself. Fanny Green was more awake than she'd been last night. She was still in her home if I wanted to pay her another visit. I could ask Paul about the gun. Tiny Paul's gun holster is empty, and he claims he doesn't know where the gun is. I said to Frankie, so that points Paul being the killer. I nodded, but still needed more information. Got anything else? I forgot that he had a holster. So let's go ask him about the gun. See if it's his. I forgot about it. Let's ask him about the gun, because I don't think he will actually give me very much data about it. But that's fine, because I need to do this. So let's get started. Let's talk to him. Ask about notes. Evidence. Gun. I described the gun I found and how it matched the type gangsters were known to carry. And I didn't see your gun around here. I ended. His jaw stiffened. I keep my gun in that holster, and when I'm not at home, the holster stays on my person or in my jacket. So where is it now? What if I told you I lost it yesterday? How about you disprove that? I raised an eyebrow. A weak story, Paul. Weak or not. It's what I'm telling you. What are you gonna do about it? I'm just asking questions. Just asking questions, I said to him. A detective has to cover all her leads. Paul looked took a heavy sigh, but in his drunken state, he didn't do much more. I pressed Paul further on what he'd already told me, but I got nothing useful from it. He let out a blessed sigh. Will there be anything else? He said. Sardonically. Detective. I'm gonna go ask the girl, Ella, I think her name was. She was all over Paul yesterday, is what I was told. So let's go ask her about the gun. See if she can give me any information. I don't want to talk to you. I'm hyped right now. If I talk to you, I'll forget what I'm gonna do and say. Let's just go in. Alright, I shouted something in my nose, but no, okay. Sorry, she said. I don't know anything about that. I nodded and asked about something else. Ugh, how do you not know anything about that? You were all over him. Let's see. Look, she said, I already told you all I know about Paul. Please just drop it. I did. Okay, so none of these are working for her. I'm going to talk to the other girl, because it's very, obvious it was one of these girls. And I'll also talk to Stable, because Stable is close to Paul, too. I think it was Miss Green that did it, but I have no evidence right now to point to anybody, other than that you found it in his trash can. Tiny Paul's gun is missing, and he says only someone close to him could grab it. What are you implying, Miss Malone? She questioned. Just that anybody in the billiards room could have taken his gun. I concluded. Miss Malone, I'd be crazy to try and take a gangster's gun. He'd have shot me with it first. I'm not close to Tiny Paul. There were some flowers I found in Tiny Paul's apartment that look much like the ones you've gotten here. I've had a few sources connecting you two. Perhaps Paul would let you take his gun, or you could get to it without him noticing, and surely he wouldn't shoot you with it. Her face turned crimson. She denied my claims with just every word in the thesaurus. But that face had told me enough. Her and Tiny Paul were having an affair, which would give her enough motive to kill her husband. I've had a few sources connecting you two and Tiny Paul, Miss Green. Is he your lover? Her face turned crimson. She denied my claims with just every word in the thesaurus, but her face had told me enough. I tried again to bring up the murder weapon and Miss Green's relationship with Tiny Paul, but all that got me was an earful of insults. I'm having a feeling she did it. Because right now, I have motive and opportunity. She slipped out. And what was the other one? Means how they could have killed Green. She could have easily got the gun from Paul by stealing it. And then opportunity slipped out of the back door because she was in love. Or, you know, Green was her lover. Oh, this is getting sweet and juicy. I asked her again about her night. I nodded my thanks for her answers and turned back to the room. I'm gonna go question Paul about these. See if he'll give me anything. Because this is getting interesting, and I'm loving this. Right, I don't think he'll say anything. He said that they were for his mother, but I highly doubt that. Paul's response was simply a look at me with glossed eyes. Okay. He's just grunted. Apparently he was noting more to say about it. Apparently he had nothing more to say about it. Nothing, really. Motive means opportunity. So far, she seems to be the one that is doing everything. If I go talk to Stable and I don't find anything out, I think I'm going to accuse the screen. Pointed to something in my book, but nothing notable came out of it. Asked about something in the notebook. Okay, so he's not giving me anything about her. Let's go to Frankie. See if Frankie can give me anything. Because I don't want to just accuse her just yet. Because what if I'm wrong? I was Frankie about something in my notes, and his response got me closer to solving the case. Got me no closer to solving the case. Ugh. No. Alright, well, let's go accuse her. Let's go see what happens, I guess. I mean, I honestly don't want to. What's this? The yellow newspaper was flopped on the counter. It was the sports section dated June 1st, 1887. It read, Browns continued dominant play, ending May with 21-2 record after a Hurricane 2 games thrown on the same day by pitcher Conway. Okay. Let's leave. Let's go accuse her. Because we got means, opportunity, and motive. So, let's go. This probably isn't going to end well, but that's fine. I thought of accusing Fanny Gree of killing her husband. Accusing someone of murder was certain to agitate them. I knew it was not something I should do lightly. They would refuse any further casual chats. But if I was confident that she had killed Connor, including knowing the means and motivation and the opportunity for her to do so, then I knew I should accuse her. Fanny Green? I started boldly. You killed your husband. A stillness permitted the room as I spoke my words. I can prove your means, motivation, and opportunity for the murder. Fanny's face contorted like I'd first seen her in a Southern coffee. She barked at me. What are you saying? I loved my husband dearly. How dare you accuse me of murder? She huffed her way out of breath, which gave me a chance to prove it. Which one is means? How they could have killed Green? Tiny Paul's gun is missing, and he says that only someone close to him could grab it. What are you implying, Miss Malone? She questioned and raised an eyebrow. That you were close enough to Paul to take his gun. She screamed until she was blue, but I didn't believe her denials. An affair could give her enough motivation to kill her husband, and access to Paul's gun would give her the means. I had shown Miss Green that Paul's missing gun could have been the murder weapon, considering her affair with Tiny Paul. She also would have the perfect motive to kill her husband. I just needed to prove that Miss Green had an opportunity for murder. She had no alibi. I don't know if that's right. You admitted to being gone for parts of the night, I told her. That could have given you the perfect opportunity to murder your husband. She huffed at that for a while, but it stuck. It was clear now. I put it to her. Miss Green, you're the only one of my suspects with provable motive, means, and opportunity for murder. You knew you had to leave your husband. You loved Paul. And, as often happens, you began hating Connor because of it. So you tailed him to see what he was scheming. Maybe you could sink his plans and have the mob do your dirty work. Then you met me. You learned your husband had been receiving death threats, and you knew that was your play. If he died, police would blame it on the underground. So last night, after you were singing, you called Connor to the Tin Spoon. You snuck out of the billiards room the back way, taking Paul's gun with you. That's when you shot him. She looked at me hotly, about to burst. Then she sighed and stared down at her feet. She began to cry, however. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. Awesome! However, many appetites were running through her blood. They had lost all their effectiveness. I put an arm around her as she wept. Connor had made my life miserable, she said between sobs. Look around this dump. That's how ruined I am inside. Oh, that manipulated little sneak. You're right, I hated him. That's why I started going with Paul in the first place. She balked at my surprise. Oh no, I never loved Paul. I wanted him to kill Connor. But after learning about Ella, she trailed off. Oh, how could I convince Paul if he loved someone else? I had no way of leaving Connor. I slumped back to misery. What about a divorce? I offered. Divorce? She screamed, the word back at me. Connor would never give me that. They say you're emancipated. Sure, but we still need our husband's permission to leave his home. I was the only good thing that bum owned, and he would never let go of me. That's why I was chasing him yesterday. She continued. If I could prove infidelity, I'd deem a split in court. I got all excited when I saw you standing in your doorway. She started breathing more heavily. I had to follow you to make sure, but I was certain I had my way out. Only, she sniffed. Only it happened you were above board. You're a detective, and I was still trapped. After we met, I came home to find Connor waiting for me. He said we'd be leaving for St. Louis. She took a gasp of air and continued, leaving everything I'd known for a place I've never been, with a man I didn't love. I couldn't do it, and I told him so. And then he struck me. She wiped away her tears, and with them came her blush and thick camouflage powder. A liver-covered spot the size of a silver dollar showed on her cheekbone. He just marched out of the door, she continued through her waterworks, and I didn't know what to do. And then you thought of Paul's gun. I concluded for her. That's right. Maybe Paul wouldn't kill Connor, but I knew he carried a cannon, and I knew I could get to it. So you took Paul's gun and killed your husband, I said. No, she said. No? That was my plan, but... She broke off her sentence with a sniff and started another. I went to Paul's apartment late in the afternoon and grabbed his pistol. Then I came back here. I sat in this chair, petting the gun in my hand, wondering if I would do it. That's when he came in. Your husband? I offered. No. Much kinder man. Oh, he listened so well. I even told him about... She paused. About my plan. This other man, you knew him? I asked. She nodded a yes. He said he understood everything. He said he could frame the murder. He said he said not to worry. He took the gun. Oh? She cried. But I couldn't let him go through with it, you see. That's why I left the tiny spoon last night, to stop him. That's when I met Redstone Stable. In response to my raised eyebrow, she explained, I only met him last night. I had no idea that he had anything to do with my husband until this morning. The police told me at the station that Connor had suspected Stable. But I knew instantly that he was the terrible man. A woman's intuition never lies. Stable talks like a snake and has the looks of him and looks to match. So you were both searching for the same person last night, I asked. Yes, but he wasn't around. I think, she sobbed. I'm tired of this. I said, who is it? It's the owner of that hat, she said, pointing to it. It's Franklin. Frankie? I said. Or Frankie, I asked. She continued slowly. Yes, he took the gun from me yesterday. I was too dazed to argue. Nice story, I said, but you still fit the bill just fine. Phyllis, even if I had the gun, how could I know where to plant it? I only met Stable last night, and I knew nothing about him. Franklin had known about the case from you, isn't that right? You're only telling this to me now? I asked. That's the big idea. What's the big idea? Stringing me along. Phyllis, she said shortly. She said softly. Franklin did this for me. He saved me. If that awful man Stable has to take the fall so that Franklin can stay free, well, she trailed off. I shook my head and looked at her. If she was telling the truth, Stable could confirm it. And if she was lying, I thought, what if she ran? Well, she would get stopped soon enough. Good looks can be a curse, and it would be a cinch to snatch her. Besides, with those optites in her, opitites in her, she would have difficulty standing, let alone running anywhere. I gazed at her, and she understood what I was thinking. I'll be right here if you come back. I wondered why she would fabricate such a story if she knew she was stuck. Then I thought, what if it was the truth? I had to speak with Frankie. Oh, man. All my actions from these moments blur together. I only remember the thoughts racing through my head. As I hailed a taxi for Southern Coffee, I went over the facts again, trying to deny them, but they all fit too well. I know I'm over my time, but I gotta finish this. If this is the end, I have to finish this. Frankie had been infatuated with Miss Green, and he could have gone to visit her. He could have taken the gun he knew about Stable from when I told him of the case, and he could have planted it at his racetrack. Those facts might be explained away innocently, but it was the combination. Frankie was the only person with means, motive, and opportunity to kill Green. I stepped out of the cab, hoping Frankie could give me another explanation for all of it. I walked down the creaking steps. That familiar basement smell added to the lump in my throat. I must have spent some time looking around the place, inhaling it. Eventually, my eyes fell on Frankie. He gave me his generous smile that I knew well, pulled out that hat and showed it to him. This hat belongs to you, I said in a flat tone. Frankie gaped. If I had had any doubts, that look erased them. You killed Connor Green. Frankie's next sentence was short, delivered after a sigh. I always remembered it. Can't lie to you, he said. My jaw began to quiver, either from sadness or anger. It was hard to be sure. Why get wrapped up in this? I asked. Does that dimpled girl mean so much to you? Frankie shook his head. Man, this is getting good. This'll be a long story, he started. I let him talk. As heated as I was, I had to know why Frankie would kill my client. It's that sheet. He motioned to the newspaper flopped on the bar. 1887, the St. Louis Browns. My last good season. My career was ruined by Thomas Kinney. Kinney was a mob boss, you see. He ran St. Louis politics, above ground and below. He was cruel to everyone, sure, but he had a special hate for blacks. In 1887, that hate came to baseball. One practice, a local kid comes up to the fence and calls Murray, our left fielder, over to him. He tells Murray that every Browns player has to sign onto a letter, which says that we refuse to play against the Brooklyn Cubans, a colored team. The kid then runs off. We all knew who the orders had really come from. Then I refused to ink it. Kinney's gang would run me out of baseball, or worse. With some of the best teammates and people I had known over the years had been black. I was torn up about it. In the end, I guess I was just a kid who wanted to play. I didn't want trouble. I signed with the others. It was the worst decision I ever made, Malone. It's haunted me ever since. Started on the hooch, and I never played the same again. Kept listening as Frankie continued. I began the booze hound of St. Louis in the dumps at every bar in town. But this louse had tales about old Thomas Kinney, and a way of telling them that kept the others interested. Maybe my rumors worked. Kinney lost the next election. Just a few weeks later, he died of tuberculosis. Kinney's partner, Tom Egan, blamed me for it all. I knew I had to blow St. Louis, so I went to Philly, my hometown. I ran into my old pitching partner, Matt Kilroy, who had opened a bar. He invited me to run it with him, as long as I stopped drinking myself. Under his eye, I made it. I got sober by working in his speakeasy, if you can believe that. I even married Kilroy's sister and became stepfather to her 2 boys. I was engrossed and continued to listen to Frankie went on. Well, by then, Egan had renamed the gang, and Egan's rats had spread east. They came for me one night, and I barely ducked their spray. Luckily, a cop was near his beat, and they would have circled around and finished the job. I had a great life in Philly, but I had to give it up. I couldn't put my new family in that danger. I fled out west, where I knew the rats didn't have a foothold. Philly was the second time those bastards ruined my life. I ended for him, and when you discover that Green was part of Egan's rats, you wouldn't let them ruin you a 3rd time. Frankie laughed. No, Malone, I couldn't run easy. My life here ain't much. I have nobody here, really. Except you. Sure, I could flee somewhere else, but it's you. Egan's rats wouldn't leave an end loose. If Green had reached St. Louis, they'd have come back and tied you up. I can run from town to town, but I can't make you do that. I was the one who told you to take the case, remember? I had to stop them from hounding the rest of your life. I stared at him without thought or emotion. He said, I did this for you. Poetic, Frankie, I countered, but certainly proves you had no faith in me. just like Green, who hired me because he thought I wouldn't see through his scheme, or his wife, who was hoping I would gum up the works for the police, who thought I couldn't hold my own. I'm just some flapper, playing in a man's world. Is that right? Frankie shrugged. I just wanted to protect you. I can protect myself, I told him. And without any murderers, he sighed. I suppose I wouldn't blame you for taking me in, he said. No, I won't fight if you want to drag me to hell. But the police have stopped looking for the killer. If you let me, I'd keep running. It's up to you. Ah! Damn it. So Frankie's been like my best friend for the longest time, and he said he did this for me to protect me. Here's the thing. If I don't turn him in, maybe Miss Green will. And I don't want him to be turned in because he's like my friend. He helped me with the case. But he did kill somebody. He murdered somebody. He said he'd skip town, but I feel like if he did that, they'd just find him again, and he kills somebody again. I'm gonna have to arrest Frankie. So that was a case of distrust. Now I know why it's called a case of distrust. Man, I liked Frankie. Frankie was like one of my favorite characters. I never saw that coming. Ugh. I don't know. Maybe I'll play it again and then next time I won't arrest him. I don't know. That is if there's extra stuff. Man. I really did like this game. And I hope they make another one because this was really cool. I liked it. I liked that it was interactive. Oh, well, I loved playing, so thank you for making the game. I don't think I've ever played a game like this before, so it was pretty interesting to see something like this. I really did enjoy it. Oh, am I not done? It was a few mornings later that I received a knock on my door. A small man in a light blue uniform asked me to sign for a package and handed me an envelope and a brown box. I opened the envelope. Inside was a large looped writing from Miss Frances Green. It was a long note spanning multiple leaves. I only skimmed most of it. She must have used every allegory known to man to apologize for her behavior in the case. She then claimed she was starting life anew, ridding herself of rumors of her late husband. Finally, she said she was sorry about Franklin and any part she played in his unfortunate actions. As I read the name Franklin again, a drop fell and smudged the ink. I wiped my cheek before more drops could join it. Miss Green's note ended with the hope that this gift of hers will begin to remedy any grudges I had against her, though truly I felt none. I turned to the box and removed one side of the tape from the cardboard, and snapped the flaps open with a couple of loud pops. Rolled in a loose ball inside the box was Lewis's gray coat. I put it on and looked at myself in the mirror. I grabbed the lapels and pulled them tight. The trench coat suited me. I wondered how Green had first gotten hold of it. The innocent question was about to lead to a lot of trouble. was a case of distrust. Like I said, this was a really good game, and it was good. I really did enjoy it. I would probably play it again, do some things a little bit differently, but I don't know if I'll play it on my channel. Alright, so I'm gonna end this episode here. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, I'll put the links in the description below. Until next time, my scaredy cats, bye-bye!